Omar is stubbornly optimistic, one of the defining characteristics. He's facing off against all sorts of injustice. There's a rigged system that's out to get him. Right there on the cover, it tells us when the system is broken, you have to rise up. What obviously anybody who's been listening to us up to this point, who heard your experience in getting published, has some idea of where some of that's coming from. But what are you hoping that young readers are going to take away? I know that you're very cautious about not teaching lessons or putting morals in your stories because kids can feel that coming. But what are you hoping that readers are going to take away from this story, and how do you do that without becoming preachy?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I do try not to moralize in stories because I don't like to read stories like that, and I don't want to write stories like that. But, like I'd said earlier, I write about what hurts. I write about things that I'm processing. And I think, Omar Rising is about a kid who learns about the power of community, about working together. And my teen book, Yes, No, Maybe So, that I wrote with Becky Albertalli, that's also a story about two teens trying to, excuse me, overturn a local election, not to win a special election in their district, and knocking on doors. And it's a story exploring how one person may not be able to make a difference, but everyone together can make a difference. And I see the power of that in my own life. I see the power of that, that perseverance, like you said, just to get published, the perseverance that it takes. Those are those are guiding forces in my own life. And so unconsciously, not necessarily like I have to put this in the book, but because that's how I see life, those things are going to show up in my books. And so, yeah, so in Omar Rising, he finds out that scholarship kids are treated like second-class citizens. They can't do activities like the other kids do in school. They have higher grades they have to meet, or they'll lose their scholarship. And on his own, he can't do it. He can't convince the system to change. But maybe if the other kids around him, especially those with a lot of privilege who are wealthy, also put their might behind him and work together, something can change. And I truly believe in that. And I see that every day in my life, how people coming together. And, I also feel like young people can feel so powerless sometimes because there's so much going on. There's climate change. There's, right now at the recording of this podcast, there's so much horrific things happening in Ukraine. And it can just feel so overwhelming. You're just one person. But these stories, I hope, give readers that sense that I might not be able to change everything, but maybe I can fix my school. Maybe I can fix this one issue happening right here. And that can have a huge impact on the people who are affected locally, and that has ripple effects that continue to extend outward.
It does occasionally feel a little bit hopeless. Not to turn to politics, although I noticed that that when you were doing your book about the election, that you were out there in 2020, right there in February, before we all get shut down, doing the promotion of it. Um, why did I say don't not to get political? Oh, it does feel like anytime I hear there's a political scandal, we have evidence that this politician, you know the one I mean, committed all kinds of crimes. Like 100%, I do believe that you have that evidence. I'm not going to read any further or listen to you because I know after you tell me all these things I should be furious about, nothing's going to happen. So I'm just going to put that over there and step away. Which is maybe not such a bad system, but if you do that long enough, it starts to become easy just to lose faith overall. There isn't going to be any justice. And just as we've been talking, not just your publishing journey, but the journey of we need diverse books, and the change that is still coming about in publishing gives us clear evidence that that's not entirely true. There's no point to retreating and becoming negative. You, Aisha Saeed, rose up when the system was broken, and you rose up to fix it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, thank you I mean, yeah, I was one of many, again, if I had just been the only one tweeting, we need diverse books, I mean, that wouldn't have done anything. It would have been impossible if it hadn't been for Ellen and Melinda Lowe and all the other people who, joined forces to talk about it. And then the thousands and thousands of people who also chimed in and voiced their support, including within the publishing industry and everywhere. And so, yeah, that's so true. And so it can feel hopeless. And I think despair is very natural and it's understandable. But despair, like you said, leads to inaction. It can risk you just saying, okay, nothing's going to change. But start small. Show up to your local meetings that are happening about the potholes in your road. Like show up to things, and you never know like where that will lead. We have so much more power locally, I think, than we do. Like, I can't stop the war in Ukraine, but I can call my local representative and talk to them about it, and they might listen, and that might extend outward. So we do what we can. Despair is very natural, but we have to hold on to hope if we want to see change.